My house came with really nice cellular shades, but they're dumb. There's nothing wrong with them, it's just that every morning I have to lift all 3 shades up manually, and every evening I have to lower all 3 shades manually. Plus, I have a mission to make everything in my house smart. Because you know what? I'd rather control them with a remote, or with my voice, or just completely automate them and not even have to think about it. Hey Google, close the shades.
3 shades, closing.
So SmartWave sent me these really nice light filtering cellular shades, and the motor comes with Matter over Thread, and with the correct hardware that's compatible with pretty much anyone's smart home. So I'm going to go over my entire experience from measuring, installation, setup, and of course smart home integration. And here, you want a little spoiler? Installing these things was so much easier than I thought it would be, and connecting it to my smart home was more difficult than I thought it would be. So first of all, if you go on their website, there's a lot of different shades to choose from, like Roman shades or wood-woven shades, roller shades, or drapery. And I got light filtering shades, but you could also get blackout shades if you prefer. These particular shades are the Venus 70% light filtering cellular shades. I went with the cellular shades because that's what I had before and I like the way they look in this room. Plus cellular is also good for insulation purposes. And it's really hard to talk specifically about price because it really depends what type of shades you choose, the size of your windows, what accessories you choose. You could get all different types of remotes, handheld remote, wall remote. You can get a solar panel charger. And if you want to use it with your smart home, the Matter controller is actually an upgrade as well. The 3 shades in my room altogether came out to about $1,200. I've had very low-end motorized shades, and I've also had the absolute top-of-the-line smart shades, and those cost thousands of dollars. And I do feel that for all the features and functionality you get with these shades, they're definitely worth the price. Very good value. And of course, this is something where you have to take the measurements yourself, and I'll report that I used the measurement guide on their website and measured exactly the way they advised, and my shades fit absolutely perfectly. All 3 of them. And I also appreciate that the exact design and style that I chose on the website looks pretty much exactly the same in the room. They came packed really nicely in these very sturdy boxes, so nothing was damaged at all, and it came with literally everything I need to install it other than the actual tools. I also have to say, after opening it, the design and build quality looks really nice. The hardware looks and feels really solid. The cellular shades look just like my old ones with the really nice honeycomb design. The fabric looks and feels like it's supposed to. If I'm gonna be super nitpicky, you can see the USB-C connector on the top of the head rail, but I personally don't care about that. The point is the build quality and design is really nice. Now, of course, I can't yet comment on how they're gonna hold up over the next 5 years, but I guess we'll see. So I'll admit that I had some anxiety about hanging these shades, but it ended up being so much easier than I thought it would be. And I took a little shortcut to make things easier. So it comes with these little stickies, which I just put on both brackets, and then I stuck the shades up to where they needed to be, took the brackets off, and then I just drilled them in from there. So I already knew that they would be in the perfect position. But yeah, I was surprised how easy it was for me to install these shades. And of course, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is test them. Now, I know people want to know how much noise they make when they're going up and down. I don't know if you can hear that. But yeah, they're not silent. I've had inexpensive motorized shades which sound really horrible and annoying. And I've also had the absolute top of the line smart shades that are thousands of dollars and they are near silent. These do make noise. You hear a motor. Do I care? No, not at all. I mean, it's not an annoying sound. I don't need them to be completely silent, so for me, it doesn't matter at all. I'm just mentioning it because I thought it might be important to some people. Another thing to mention too is they don't really go up and down too fast. You can increase the speed to high, but that was it. But again, to me, that does not matter at all. I don't care about like a 0 to 60 on my smart shades. The one thing I did not expect was how long it would take me to set up these shades. And I'm gonna put part of the blame on the instruction manual, part of it on me, and part of it for Matter being so finicky. The instruction manual shows you how to pair the remote with the shades, set the shades' upper and lower limits so it knows where to stop, and how to pair them with Matter. And it seems like there's multiple methods to do each one of these things depending on which shades you have. And that some of the methods may not work for you, which didn't sink into me right off the bat. For example, it says in order to pair these shades with Matter, press the button 3 times, and then you'll be in pairing mode. So I assumed the shades were in pairing mode, but I could not get the shades to connect. Now part of it's my fault because I probably shouldn't have consulted ChatGPT and Gemini, both which led me down a rabbit hole trying all these different things that didn't actually work. I then went on SmartWave's YouTube channel and actually found the solution. Later on I went back to the instruction manual and realized that there was method 1, which is what didn't work for me, and method 2, which did. I actually need to hold 2 buttons down on the remote until the shades jog up and down, then hold a different 2 buttons on the remote and have them jog up and down again, and then they're in pairing mode, and that worked. Now when I see method 1 and method 2, I naturally assume that they're different ways of doing the same thing. Not that one would work and one wouldn't. And it seemed like when I was pairing the remote, setting the shade limits, pairing with matter, there's always multiple methods to doing each one. Now this isn't a huge problem. I just personally wish that the instructions were a little bit more clear, saying that there's different ways of doing things depending on which model you have. Or even better, only including the methods that work with the exact model you have. And again, this isn't a big deal for most people, it just is for me and the way my brain works. Now the reason I installed these shades were because they're smart home compatible using Matter over Thread. Now you may be familiar with Matter, you might even have Matter devices, but just make sure you don't confuse Matter over Wi-Fi, which is more common, versus Matter over Thread. And to use Matter over Thread, you need what's called a thread border router. And you know what? You may already have one and not even know it. For example, I've had a Nest Hub Max display for years, and that happens to be a thread border router. I also have a HomePod Mini, which is a thread border router. Or if you have a newer Apple TV 4K, it's possible you have some newer Amazon Echo devices that have it, or a Samsung SmartThings hub, but you will need to have a device that has a thread border router. I personally use Home Assistant, and I have a separate antenna that acts as a thread border router, and it creates a mesh network with my Google Nest Hub Max and my Apple HomePod Mini. Now the first time I paired all 3 shades with Google, they appeared in the app. I was able to control them with my Nest Hub. I was able to control them with my voice. However, they went offline shortly after that and never came back online. So I had to delete them completely and start the process over. However, that seems to be more of a Matter issue than a SmartWave one. I paired all 3 shades. I then re-added the shades to Home Assistant, and they worked perfectly. I then connected them to both Google Home and Apple Home. And they were in Google Home. You could see if they're open, if they're closed. You could operate it using your voice. Hey Google, lower the shades.
3 shades, closing.
I also have a Z-Wave scene controller on my wall, or I could just use the remote. But you know what? None of this matters at all, because my wife actually asked me to set up an automation where they automatically open at 7 in the morning and they automatically close at 7 at night, so I don't even need any of this anymore. Seriously, it works like a charm. I walk past the family room in the morning, they're open. I walk past it at night, they're closed. I never have to touch anything. Now I can't fully comment on battery life because I've only had these for a short amount of time. On their website they claim that you charge them for 6 hours and then they go up and down about 600 times, which is supposed to last about 6 months. If you want to ask me in the comments 6 months from now, I'll let you know. But they do have a USB-C port right on the front, and they come with very long cables. Okay, so let's recap what I liked. They fit perfectly in my window. They look and feel like a quality product. Very good value for the price. Very nice fabric. Everything looks like it did on the website. They open and close very smoothly. After a little tinkering, they work seamlessly with my smart home. They work great with app control, voice control, automations. They really fit perfectly with the aesthetics of my home and my smart home ecosystem. And what I didn't like, the only real issue I had was the instruction manuals weren't as clear and straightforward as I would have liked them to be, and that caused me to go down a rabbit hole during setup. But that's not a reason not to recommend the product. Plus, if you're watching this, you're gonna know what to expect anyway. So that's it, I'm very happy with these shades. I think they look really great in the room, they work really great with my smart home, and I'm keeping them. And yeah, I have no trouble recommending them to you or my family or my friends. I think they're a great value for the price. They really have everything I need. I included a link to these shades in the description so you could check them out yourself. If you enjoy my straightforward, no BS reviews about smart home and smartphone tech and want to see more reviews like this, please subscribe to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching.